Hello, YouTube, and welcome to another episode of Behind the Wall presented by Perky Jerky. As always, I'm Thermite917, along with Kane Jr. 88 and Probo 43. This week we were in Texas for the Vancouver 350, My Bariatric Solutions 300, and the O'Reilly 500. And with the recap for that cup race, here is Tyler. Take it away.
Thank you, Nick. So Jimmie Johnson won the pole for the O'Reilly Auto Parts 500, and he kicked off by leading the first 59 laps of the race. Hell, that's more laps than he's led all year and even last year, so that was a surprise. The first caution of the day came out during that cycle when Erik Jones went for a real little lazy spin off of turn 2, which was the trouble spot all weekend long. It's a quick and easy caution. They got back rolling and ran 68 laps to the end of the stage, where Joey Logano jumped Jimmy during the pit stop cycles and held on to win stage number 1. Stage number 2 got back going, and they ran for 57 laps until Kyle Larson had a problem and it hit the wall, ending his day a last place finish for Larson. They finished the stage with a 13-lap run to the end, and Denny Hamlin ended up getting the win. Stage 3 started with a 78-lap green flag run until Daniel Hemric brought out the final caution of the day. Another little incident. He's had a real rough stretch of races, but that was enough to bring it out, and that shuffled the order of track position there, threw a little wrench in there. A lot of guys were trapped a lap down, but they ended up getting back going and ran the final 74 laps green. Denny Hamlin had kind of worked his way through a series of problems throughout the race. Kyle Busch had the lead for a little bit and tanked it on his own. And in the end, Denny found himself in the lead, had no real challengers at the end, and he wins over Clint Bowyer, Daniel Suarez, Erik Jones, and Jimmie Johnson, the top 5. William Byron, Aric Almirola, Kevin Harvick, Kurt Busch, and Kyle Busch are the top 10 finishers. The margin of victory was 2.7 seconds. There was 5 cautions per 29 laps. There were 26 total lead changes. Denny Hamlin led 45 laps on the day, but Kyle Busch led the most laps at 66. Well, this was an interesting one, so it's time to give some race ratings. Kane, you're up first.
Well, it was a great first half of the race, but then a very lackluster second half of the race. So, with that being said, I'm going to give it a 5 out of 10. Obviously, restarts were very hectic, and it was nice to see the Hendrick cars finally have a strong run, but as usual, really it was just JGR because Penske had a real sucker of a day. We'll get to that later on, but yeah, just it was nice to see some fresh names up front besides Kyle and Brad and Joey and, the usual names. That's definitely factoring into it, but it was very, very lackluster finish indeed. So 5 out of 10 for me. Nick, what's your rating?
Yeah, I think I'll go with a 5 as well. The first half of the race was quite promising. There was a lot of passing and a lot of close racing at times. The freshly repaved surface as well as the traction compound probably helped that a good bit with the new aero package. It actually worked to an extent this time. But as usual, once things got settled in, it was really tough to make anything happen. I sound like a broken record at this point, but that's just how it's been. Things almost picked back up near the end of the race when Kyle Busch had his troubles and pit stop cycled through. And there was some good variety in the top 10, but overall, this race was decent by Texas standards, and it was arguably the best race of the year with the new aero package, but it definitely wasn't anything overly special. This package has its moments, but it still has a long way to go to be considered legitimately good. So, Tyler, what is your rating?
Well, it looks like the Domino's 555 deal's coming back because I'm giving it a 5 too. This race, man, I went into it expecting absolutely nothing. And when the first half was interesting, it was like, okay, well, now you got my mind intrigued. Even though there might have not been a whole lot of attrition or even a bunch of cautions, still there was just enough race elements to keep my mind at least in tuned. Considering how bad Texas is, I was just like, wow, this is decent. And then the second half just kind of turned into a predictable bore fest. I mean, there was still a little bit happening here. And I mean, Kyle tanking it was hilarious, but then he just was kind of on cruise control right there at the end, and there was no real challenge. Super tough to pass, kind of the same old song and dance. I mean, it's not terrible. I guess it's better than what it could have been, knowing how bad Texas has been since their repave in 2017. So it is what it is. Whatever. Packers still don't work.
All right, it's that time of the week once again. It is time to hand out some awards for the Texas race weekend. And as always, we start out with that raging hard on the boner of the week. Nick, who gets it?
Oh, it goes to Kyle Busch. Oh, don't we just love it when he messes up, especially when he's going for the weekend sweep. He won in trucks, he won in Xfinity, he was leading late in the race for Cup, and he bottled it. He got loose all on his own while leading, fell back to fourth, then he got caught up in some dirty air and slapped the wall in turn two, which led him to having to pit earlier than everyone else. It was kind of near the outside window of green flag stops anyway, but he just fell back too far to really make anything of it, and he had to settle for 10th. It breaks my heart that he was doing so well, and then it went to hell like that. Haha, yeah, right. It just doesn't get better than that. Like, we just so didn't want him to win again. We were getting so tired of him winning in the lower series. Cup would have just been the icing on the stupid-ass cake, but it didn't happen, and we'll take it. So, next award, Kane.
All right, the next award is the Weekend from Hell, and in a shocker, it goes to Team Penske. Brad Keselowski crashed out of the Xfinity race. He was running the number 12 in that one. But then in the Cup race, I don't know what happened. He broke a rear gear or something. So he spent several laps behind the wall, and he ended up finishing in 36th, I think it was, 55 laps down. And then also in the Xfinity race, Austin Cindric in the 22, he hit the wall and his day ended early. Back to the Cup race, Ryan Blaney, he had a really strong run going, but then he blew an engine late in the race. And Joey Logano, well, he just flat out had a day from hell, as he was a non-factor basically the entire race, coming home in 17th. Oh my God, I mean, this is very unlike Team Penske, especially with the season that they have been having in the Cup Series with Brad and Joey, to have a team-wide performance, not just in Cup, but also in Xfinity as well. And hopefully it doesn't happen again, but hey, who knows? Moving on to the next award.
The next award is the
Straight Jacket Award!
And we have to go all the way to South Boston, Virginia to deliver these straight jackets. Saturday night, classic short track action, late models at South Boston Speedway. Well, there was a little bit of a pissing contest. Same old shit at any short track across America, right? Well, not exactly. We have Philip Morris and Lee Pullum trying to get up there. They're fighting for a little win in their twin 75 lapper. And, well, they get into a little bit of an incident. Philip Morris goes spinning, and, well, that basically ends his race. Well, Mr. Crew Chief of Mr. Morris, he's like, oh no, that son of a bitch ain't getting away with it. He runs out on pit road, runs out on the track, and he's like, hey Lee, I'm going to pull up your ignition box out, bitch. But oh no, Lee wasn't having any of that, guns it, and throws this guy right out the right side door. That is absolutely hilarious. And everybody involved is getting straitjackets. That's right. There's a straitjacket going to Mr. Philip Morris. You were just involved. You were instigating it somehow. Lee Pullum, you're getting a straitjacket. You gunned it, dude. And you wrecked Mr. Morris. Mr. Crew Chief, I don't even want to look at your name. What the hell were you thinking, dude? You almost got killed. Be a little bit smarter than that. I know you're all pissed off. Guess what? You'll back it up and you'll come back next week and try to win it again. And then, you can't forget the officials. They let the damn guy run out of the track in the first place. Come on now. You must be freaking crazy. You bunch of damn short track crazy fuckers. I don't even know. And before we're done handing out straitjackets, let's not forget turn 2 of this weekend. That absolutely has to be a dishonorable mention for this week. Good Lord, so many people spawned, backed it in the wall. Every single race saw at least one incident there. So, Texas, you resurfaced the whole damn thing, and I guess thanks for making it a little bit interesting. But you must be freaking crazy. Next award.
All right, moving on to the cigars. We have a whole bunch this weekend, a lot of variety. We'll start out with the trucks. Tyler Ankrum gets a cigar. He finished 6th for DGR Crosley. Man, he's just been really a bright spot in that series, just getting it done, keeping it clean, and he comes home with a top 10. Speaking of top 10s, Tyler Dipple gets one. He's been this rookie that kind of came out of nowhere, had some solid runs, but now he gets a career best with a nice top 10. Good for him. And then Brennan Poole also gets a top 10. He finished right behind him in 9th in that 30 truck. That's just kind of a team that's been getting a little better, has had some nice paint schemes, and it worked out. So one more cigar for the trucks goes to Corey Roper. Yeah, you remember him from Daytona spinning out on his own. Well, this time he actually didn't crash, and he comes home with a career best just outside the top 10 in 12th. So good job from him. He's also from Texas. So keep the good finishes rolling. We'll move on to Xfinity with Kane. Take it away.
All right, our first Xfinity cigar goes to Chase Briscoe, who brought home his best career finish on an oval. He came home in 4th in that old Nutri-Chomps number 98 for Stewart Haas Racing. Chase, you get a cigar. Our next cigar goes to Jeb Burton, making his season debut in the Junior Motorsports number 8 car. He came home in 5th. I believe that's his best finish in the Xfinity Series and his first ever top 5. So congratulations, Jeb. And then Jeffrey Earnhardt. You know, he's been having a strong season ever since he announced he was driving for Joe Gibbs Racing. Well, this weekend, he did not drive for Gibbs. He drove for a new team called Extreme Concepts Racing, which is owned by the same people who run his sponsor, Extreme Concepts, and IK9, with a JGR Alliance. It was the number 81, and he brought it home in 8th, so another cigar for Jeffrey. And then, is this even a surprise anymore? Ryan Sieg once again brings home another top 10. He comes home in 10th. But if that's not impressive enough, he also won Stage 2 of the Xfinity race. How about that? So not only does he get another top 10 to add to his already impressive season, he's already got a freaking stage win, too. Very impressive. So, Ryan Sieg, you get a cigar, and now we move on to the Cup cigars. Tyler, take it away.
Yes, we have 4 Cup cigars to hand out, and obviously the first one goes to Dennis Hamlin, who won the race after 2 penalties, one for speeding and one for a very terrible uncontrolled tire penalty. He came back from all of that. He even missed pit road at some point during the race, and yet still found his way to win. So, nice job, Danny. The next cigar goes to Clint Bowyer, who got second, which is definitely his best run of the year. He's had a lot of struggles, just with weird things, and there was definitely no shortage of it this weekend, as he had a problem in qualifying, and he gave one of the most coherently pissed off interviews I have ever heard.
Make up the rules as we go. Event in qualifying. It's sad. Those people right there paid a lot of money to bring their families here to watch a qualifying session, and people try to go out and do their best, and you're just sitting around waiting because you know your best is only good enough if the guy in front of you does a good job. It's not qualifying. It's just whatever.
Is there something that can be done to make it better?
Yeah, learn from your mistakes. That's how you get better. Learn from your mistakes. We already had this failure, and here we are doing it again. I mean, it's just, come on.
So what could they do now? What's the
What
next
they
step?
should have done when they did it. I mean, you got to figure something else out. When it doesn't work, you can't just keep trying it. We're lucky that these keep happening. Wait till a wreck happens on pit road. We all know it's coming. I mean, you get caught. You can't go too fast because you're being caught speeding, but you can't go too slow because it's discretionary. What the hell speed am I supposed to go? Just tell me when to go, and maybe I'll just do that. Oh wait, and if somebody throws a caution, and the caution comes out, you're screwed again.
He poked fun at the word clogged all weekend long after that incident, and even had a little tweet about it, and it was just hilarious. Great job on that, Clint. I was so proud, and you ran a good race too. The next cigar goes to Eric Jones, who was the first caution of the race, finished 4th for the 3rd time in a row at Texas. You know, he got his first career Xfinity win there, and I don't know, I guess it's just been a really solid place for him, so good job, Eric. And the last cigar goes to Hendrick Motorsports. They had 2 cars finish in the top 10, which is all right. But Jimmie Johnson, he won the pole, led a lot of laps. He finished 5th, his first top 5 of the year. And William Byron got 6th. Hey, that's great. To have a really solid outing from those 2 guys, I don't know. It's just been weird.
All right, it's that time once again for the best paint schemes of the week. We have a few of them, so enjoy the montage. And we have one bad one this week. Kane, what is it?
It is Alex Bowman's Lumar window film Chevrolet. Now, the paint scheme itself, specifically the base, is actually pretty solid. But the only gripe that we all have is the color of the numbers. Okay, so I get the teal or turquoise or whatever that is. It sticks out, but it really just contradicts the rest of the paint scheme because the rest of the car is white with, red and orange. Very healthy color combination, but then you got this aqua 88 on the side and on the roof. I mean, doesn't really make sense. It would have made probably more sense if the numbers were just white with maybe like red numbers on the roof.
He had one last year which had the white numbers on the side and the red on the roof, and it was simple, but it actually worked. This one just kind of, like you said, it's conflicting.
Exactly.
So there you go. There's your one bad one for the week. Not surprising that it's a Hendrick one.
Yep. All right, now it's time to take a look at the fantasy results for Texas. And Damani brings home the win. He picked Kyle Busch, who had a great run going, but then bottled it late. Came home in 10th, but still got 37 points. Thermite comes home second after picking Kevin Harvick, who finished 8th and got him 29 points. Tyler was third after picking Martin Truex Jr., who finished 12th and got 25 points. And then there's me, who picked Brad Keselowski, who thought he was going to have a great run after the absolute ass-kicking that he put on last week at Martinsville, but instead, he broke a rear gear, finished 36th, and got me 1 point!
And I think we're due for an overall points update. Yeah, Damani, he took over the points lead with a really great result this week. He has 272. Kane fell back to second. He is 15 behind. I am third, 23 behind. And old Tyler Fritz is fourth and last with only 226 points. He is 46 back.
So we move on to the Bull Ring, Thunder Valley, Bristol Motor Speedway, and obviously I go first, and I'm going to take Kyle Busch.
Bitch.
He won there last year. He's always a threat to win at Bristol. There's really no other explanation needed. So, Tyler, who is your pick?
Well, I'm feeling pretty good. I think I'm going to take Mr. Clyde Elliott.
Shut your face, you dope, you plastic face dope.
That's right, the real Young Money. Suck it, Kyle Larson. Get better. Yeah, Chase, he's been running real solid lately, had some momentum, had a real solid run at Texas, and just kind of had a little bit of bad luck and bad strategy that kept him from getting a really good finish and potentially challenging for the win. And just coming off that excellent run at the short track in Martinsville, and it just seems like that equalizer track, good opportunity here. I think that they can take it this time and actually end up in victory lane. So go get him, Chase. Well, Nick, who are you taking for the last great Coliseum?
Well, I'm going to go with Ryan Blaney.
Oh, son of a bitch!
His stats might generally suck there. He has an average finish of 22nd in 7 races and only 2 top 10s, but he's run pretty well. He has led at least 100 laps in both races last year, and he has a stage win. All that considered, I think old young Ryan Blaney is a solid pick for Bristol. So, Damani, who is your pick?
Dad! What are you doing? I'm your son! The product of your semen!
Oh, please no. But thank you, Damani.
Well, that about does it for this week's episode of Behind the Wall, presented by Perky Jerky. Go out and grab a bag today, because God knows you'll need it. So, for Damani HD, man, I am getting so frickin' tired of bringing up his name every week, but I still gotta. For Pro Bowl 43, oh man, he's going to Bristol next week with pit passes, so yeah, go have fun. For Thermite 917, oh man, is he gonna quit spilling marinara enough to finally get down and maybe go with us to a race someday? Who knows? And for myself, Kane Jr. 88, god damn, I suck at fantasy this week. This has been Behind the Wall. You've been behind the wall, and thank you for listening.
Do it. Get it over with.
Mm-hmm.
Who needs Tyler to do a podcast?
Yeah, exactly.
We'll find out. And with the recap for that cup race, here is Tyler. Take it away. Thank you, Tyler. So, Tyler, what is your rating? Thank you, Tyler. There's going to be a lot of that tonight.
Moving on to the next award.
Thank you, Tyler. Tyler Ankrum gets a cigar. He finished 6th for DGR. I always mess that up.
And now we move on to the cup cigars. Tyler, take it away.
Thank you, Tyler.
Thank you, Tyler.
All right, it's time. And old Tyler Fritz is 4th and last with only 226 points. He is 46 back. So, sucks to suck, but, you know, that's what happens when you suck, you know? You suck.
Tyler, who is your pick?
Thank you, Tyler.
Thank you, Tyler. Go have fun. Yeah,
Bitch.
Oh, man, I'm so... Yeah, bitch, you freaking bitch. You're so lucky. You've been behind the wall, and thank you for listening.
Thank you, Tyler.
Yeah. Yeah, gotta have one more.